Great games. There's always this worry when there's a great game. So my favorite game of all time is the original Red Dead Redemption. Then Red Dead Redemption 2 is announced and comes out, and I can't help but think to myself, is there any way that Red Dead Redemption 2 meets my expectations? In some ways it did, in some ways it didn't. It was definitely different, but it's a fantastic game. It's a world-class game. It's a once-in-a-lifetime, once-in-a-generation type of game. And there's a similar worry for Elder Scrolls 6 because Skyrim was so good. Skyrim is still one of the top played games month in and month out today. Years later, decades later, Skyrim is still absolutely crushing it. So how does Elder Scrolls 6, my voice just popped there, how does Elder Scrolls 6 meet that expectation? Can it? Well, there's a veteran of Bethesda that says he doesn't think he can. He doesn't think he can. He does not think it can. He does not think Elder Scrolls 6 is going to meet expectations, or at least it's going to be next to impossible to. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about Overwatch 2. It's on Game Pass. There's World of Warcraft crossover. That's freaking awesome. And then Battlefield, they want to return back to basics. And I think that's actually really smart. I think that's good. I hope they return back to Bad Company, that is. We'll go over that story. And last but not least, some nice Darksiders 2 Definitive Edition news coming. For those of you that are fans of Darksiders 2, Darksiders is a fantastic series. It's getting a Definitive Edition free upgrade if you're on the Xbox Series X or S. We'll go over that news story. But before we jump into any of it, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. My name is X1 the Gamer. We cover videos like this all the time right here. We also have a Discord, a community Discord, a Discord of community. That if you want to come and be a part of that community, you can do so. I will link that in the chat below. We'll pin it to the top of chat. So come and join us. It's a good time. Let's jump into this first one because I actually understand this concern, and I think it's correct. It's going to be impossible to meet a lot of people's expectations. I hope they do. I think they will. Usually games like this take a lot of care because you know it's your baby. Grand Theft Auto takes a lot of care. Each and every single iteration. Red Dead Redemption took a lot. It's why these games take years and years and years to make before we ever see them because of that care that goes into it. Here's the headline. This is purexbox.com. Go check it out. Bethesda veteran says it will be, quote, almost impossible for Elder Scrolls 6 to meet expectations. Elder Scrolls 6 is one of the biggest franchises in modern gaming. Yes, we know that. According to former Bethesda designer Bruce Nesmith, who also worked on the likes of Fallout and the latest Starfield, it will be, quote, almost impossible, unquote, to match player expectations because of the company's history. Even if it will undoubtedly be an amazing game, here's what he had to say during a recent interview with Kiwi Talks. He said, quote, Elder Scrolls 6 is undoubtedly going to be an amazing game, but it's going to be compared to all the previous games that Bethesda has made, just like every studio's games are going to be compared to their previous products. You know, the 30-year-old who is making a piece of art, who's a professional artist, he can't control the expectation because he's got all this history. You know it's there whether he likes it or not, and the same is true for the fans who want to buy Elder Scrolls 6. Their expectations are going to be almost impossible to meet. Nesmith goes on to admit how marketing departments just put their head in their hands and just weep in these sorts of situations because if it isn't perfect, it just doesn't get a 95 plus on metric. A product can then be met with extreme criticism and deemed a failure. So here's the thing. There's some games that drop like that. An example of that game that I think that garnered a lot of criticism, some of it warranted, some of it unwarranted, but that I think is going to be seen when all is said and done as a masterpiece is Starfield. Some of you might be looking at me like I'm crazy. Wait a minute, what? Yes, I think Starfield will inevitably be seen as a masterpiece. I think it got super criticized. Number one, because of who was making it. And number two, because it was the first Bethesda exclusive on Xbox. That was the primary driving force. So stuff that you wouldn't necessarily nitpick at, maybe nitpick's the wrong word. Stuff that you wouldn't normally hammer it with got hammered this time. For instance, there were reviews on Steam, thousands, hundreds, and thousands of hours played in the game, and they gave it 1s and 5s. Who is spending thousands of hours in a game to give it a 1? Answer, nobody, unless you're purposefully trying to tank the score. And that existed because of those outside things. Another one, I think Hellblade 2. Hellblade 2 is another one that this is the first time it launched exclusively over on Xbox. it got hammered in the reviews, even though you can look back at a Dreamcast guy, for instance. Dreamcast guy gave Hellblade 1 a 9. He gave this one like a 4. Hellblade 2. Everything he says in Hellblade 1 applies to Hellblade 2, only they did it even better. It's Hellblade 1 on steroids. That's another one that I think is fantastic and is going to be seen in its time as a masterpiece as well. So I wouldn't pay too much attention to critic scores. History, I think, tells the story of games. History tells you how games will do. Now, good scores, good review scores obviously can help. It can help with marketing, but it's not the end-all be-all. If you remember back, Destiny, the original Destiny was getting hammered when it very first dropped by reviews. I think IGN gave it a 6. Just as an example, yet it was one of the top played games. In fact, it was the top played game month in and month out, and we now know the history of Destiny. Whenever there's new things, whenever there's stuff like that, you're not guaranteed. Let's talk about the expectations. Are the expectations too high to almost impossible for Elder Scrolls 6 to meet expectations? To be clear, Bruce Nesmith, he's saying this is a good thing, basically. He's not saying this as like they're not going to do it. No, what he's saying is it's going to be a really good game, but for some people, you're just never going to match that expectations. And he's not wrong there, especially with Skyrim. Coming off the back of Skyrim, I mean, the expectations are astronomical. I hope that they do it. I think that they will. I think that this is their baby. This is the marquee title. Yes, Fallout is a marquee title. No, this is the title from Bethesda. Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 6. I think it'll be cool. Being in a fantasy world already naturally, gives you, I think, some systemic advantages that, for instance, sci-fi doesn't give you in the face of Starfield there. But those expectations are high. I had the same feeling, the same worry about Red Dead. I have the same worry about Grand Theft Auto 6, although seeing the trailers already, I think that those worries actually went away. It looks so good. So I would love to know what you guys think, though. Do you think that they're going to be able to meet expectations with Elder Scrolls 6? Or do you think that it's next to impossible? Obviously, you're never going to meet everyone. There's crazies out there. You're never going to meet them. I think they will, but it will be interesting to see if they don't. Yikes. But no, I don't think there's any indication of that. I think that they're a really solid developer. They did well, despite what you may hear with Starfield. I think Fallout has been amazing. Look at the TV series. It's been amazing. It's time for us to get a badass Elder Scrolls 6 that meets the expectations that we can get lost in for hundreds and thousands of hours. And I cannot personally wait. Let me know, though, what you guys think in the comments below. Let's move to our next discussion here. And this is Overwatch 2, baby. It's officially on Game Pass. The Activision Blizzard acquisition from Xbox just continues to pay off. And this is one of those examples. Overwatch 2 is coming to Xbox Game Pass today with 6 character skins as a bonus. Blizzard has announced that Overwatch 2, this is over at Xbox Achievements if you're an achievement hunter. This is the website for you. Blizzard has announced that Overwatch 2 is due to hit Xbox Game Pass today with a cache of exclusive benefits to unlock by linking an active Xbox Game Pass account to Battle.net account. Linking your accounts before November 11th will see you earning a bunch of Overwatch 2 cosmetics upon logging in, including Cardboard Reinhardt, Turtle Ship Diva, Cyber Dragon Hanzo, Street Runner Genji, Bee Mercy, and Cleric Lifeweaver. You'll also be given 30 Mythic Prisms as a one-time bonus available for purchasing Mythic Shop cosmetics and upgrades. Select Overwatch 2 shop cosmetics from the last 3 seasons will also be available as an Xbox Game Pass bonus. That's super awesome. On top of that, Game Pass members also get a 10% XP boost. Also very nice, especially if you're climbing that season pass there. You can get in them today. Also starting today, the Overwatch 2 and World of Warcraft crossover event starts, in which you can choose to align with the Horde or the Alliance with cosmetics inspired by the game's fantasy world of Azeroth. Really exciting. I mean, Overwatch 2 is the hero shooter of our time, and you now get the benefits of Game Pass. You get, even though this game is everywhere, it's a free-to-play game, you get benefits with Game Pass, and that is why Game Pass is such an easy sell. People who don't see that, people are like, Game Pass is not going to succeed. I just don't get it. I don't get why you'd ever do it. You've just got your head under a rock. Your head is in the sand like an ostrich. Get it out, dude. You get benefits. All kinds of benefits. So well done on Xbox. Overwatch 2. There you go. Let me know if you're jumping into this and what skin you picked up and what you're most looking for. I love the crossover events. I'm excited now that Xbox owns World of Warcraft to see way more crossover events in other games and with other IPs and entities at Xbox. It's going to be a ton of fun. What I think is one of the most interesting stories of the day here is this exclusive with Vince Zampella about Battlefield. He confirms, this is over at IGN.com, he confirms that the next Battlefield will use modern settings. And then the first concept art is revealed. Here's the concept art right here. Looks obviously like modern settings here. Let's go through. Battlefield goes back to basics. First, let's start up here. While EA is cagey about specifics, this is from IGN. When it comes to the concept art, including declining to name the city where it's set, though it looks a lot like Italy, France, or somewhere else in Europe. Let's see. I think because of the way it's set on the cliffs there, then looking down. I'm not sure if there's any American cities that looks like. Could be like a Brazil or something. You've got forest, it looks like back here, that's on fire. Somewhere in Asia, could be like a Japan as well. But maybe Europe. The architect is probably why they're saying Europe there. Very cool. It does include details that should stand out to longtime fans of the series. Among other things, it appears to I can't read. It appears to suggest that ship-to-ship and helicopter combat will be part of the new game. That's always fun. And that it will feature natural disasters like wildfires. Its grayish color scheme is evocative of Battlefield 4, which remains one of the most popular games in the series despite being released a decade ago. All of this points to a back-to-basics approach for the next Battlefield. Indeed, head of Respawn and Group GM for EA Studios organization Vince Zampella is quick to shout out Battlefield 3 and 4 in the course of sitting down with IGN to talk about these new reveals. On the decision to return to the modern era, Zampella says, I mean, if you look back to the peak or the pinnacle of Battlefield, it's that Battlefield 3, Battlefield 4 era where everything was modern. And I think we have to get back to the core of what Battlefield is and do that amazingly well. And then we'll see where it goes from there. But I think for me, it's that peak of Battlefieldness is in that Battlefield 3 and 4 days. So I think it's nostalgic for players, for me, for the teams even. Those are kind of the heyday, although I would say 1942 also. I think Battlefield 3 in particular was really in this sweet spot where you had these... The maps make the game, dude. And Battlefield 3 was maybe at the pinnacle of that. You had the new and the old. I think Battlefield 3 was the one with that farm level that I just sniped from it. It was amazing. But I wasn't really into Battlefield 4 so much. I kind of split off at 3. But in between 3 and 4 is when we got 1942. 1942 was excellent. It was just this side game. The problem with 1942 is once you got in a tank, you just dominated. Like the meta was tank heavy. And so it didn't really work there. I do like the return to modern setting, like present day settings. I think that makes the most sense. Future... Not a huge fan of. I do like past, but we've done the past a ton, and there's other games that are really focused there that do it really well, so I'm not sure that you need to do that. I think being current, I would love, honestly, if it's me, I would love to go back to the roots and do Bad Company again. I actually think some of the best, funnest multiplayer maps that I've ever played in my entire life in a Battlefield game were Battlefield Bad Company. Absolutely amazing. I do think 3 was probably the sweet spot here for that, though. So this is good to hear. I would love to see Battlefield go back to basics. I've not been in Battlefield for a while just because it didn't bring me anything new. It just, I know it's Battlefield. It's a ton of fun, sure, but it just, I don't know. I would love to get a Bad Company, though. I would jump back in, hands down, no questions, if we got a Bad Company. Would love to know what you guys think, though. Do you like this back to basics, back to like the Battlefield 3 days? The Battlefield 4 days. Let me know in the comments below, and let's finish up on this story, everybody. This is just good news for us as Game Pass subscribers. If you have PS5, this is helpful too. But the Definitive Edition, like definitive but with death, it's coming. It's coming to Xbox Series X on October 15th. So here's the thing: this game is already released on Xbox One. It's just not been upgraded to the Series X and S. That upgrade is coming, and it's coming for free if you already have it. If you don't have it, you are getting it. You'll be able to purchase it for $29, and you get it in 4K with all the updates. Going to be a lot of fun. I love the Darksiders series. This is a game that I would love to see come back, get back to basics, as it were. Speaking of getting back to basics, these games are a ton of fun. Would love to see another Darksiders and Darksiders continue here in the future. That does us for today, everybody. Hope you enjoyed it. Again, let me know what you think on any of these stories, particularly Battlefield, I'm most curious about. And then obviously Bethesda with Elder Scrolls 6. It's so exciting to think that we're going to have an Elder Scrolls here soon. How many people will get lost in this world that is Elder Scrolls? Here's the thing too. Skyrim, similar to Starfield, the reason I think Starfield will be seen as one of a classic, a masterpiece, is because they've built it from the ground up to support the modding community. Skyrim was not built that way. And Skyrim exists today as one of the top selling games month in and month out because of the modding community. Now imagine Elder Scrolls 6, again, built from the ground up with that in mind, with this long-term support in mind, with this intention of being what Skyrim is for a decade, for 2 decades, and continual support there. I think it's mind-boggling, and I think it's this huge opportunity that I hope they take advantage of, and I'm excited to see them take advantage of it as well. That does us for today, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.